This is the Pocket Monster Manual. I'm Wooly Shambler, here with MD,
Hey, 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 hey!
Moogle,
Hello.
Shiny,
Hi.
and Specs.
Hello.
We're talking about Pokemon Red and Blue. Fucking round of applause. We are done with Gen 1. We got through it. Fuck yeah.
Oh my god!
Woo! Only 500 left. Let's go, lads.
Yes.
And in under a year.
There's actually about 700
not bad.
left.
I know, right?
There's gonna
That'll
be more
be
by the time we're done with those. So
Only 1,000
got-
left.
We got through the good, and we even got through the bad, and we even got through the ugly.
from the dizzying heights of Primate to the terrifying lows of Sea King, or what the fuck, like.
Seal. Seal
Pidgey.
and Pidgey,
Well,
like
yeah, Seal and Dugong will. Yeah, okay.
You can't win them all.
You can catch them all.
No, not if you're English, you can't.
So, what do you guys think about the first generation of Pokemon and the games, like Pokemon Red and Blue?
Great starting point.
Fantastic.
Started a whole very good thing for a long time. So no matter if there's like a lot of ones that I would never use or don't really give a shit about, like it's still first gen of Pokemon, you know?
I think you love it in spite of itself. But
Yeah.
that's still, you're still okay to
Yeah.
do that. That's still legitimate.
I think as well, when it came out, like it wasn't like, oh, this gen's shit, because it was the only gen. You were like, yeah, there's
Yeah.
some Pokemon that padded out, but
You were super excited when you
it's
saw
cool.
anything
I've
new
got
at the
cool
end of the day.
Pokemon. Yeah, they're all new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything had its place in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'd
also
say
feel
there's
that
not
is the
like
case.
there is filler, but it's not filler that's just weird. It's filler. Oh, I don't know, maybe towards the end of the decks, but especially early on, there's just a lot of like
It's just
cool things.
it's just like stuff to live in the environment. So
yeah,
it's very
Which is
much
great.
like setting a world. So
yeah.
Yeah.
it's good shit. It's
I
good
feel-
shit.
And it really
I think-
shows in like in the movies or the anime or something, like when they're like traveling through like the forest or something, a lot of what you see is Gen 1, mostly because of nostalgia, but also because like of course you're gonna find like a Victory Bell hanging out in a jungle, or like Seeking and Goldeen like swimming through a river. Like of course.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
I think what's good about this Dex as well is it's not too big and it's not too small. I feel like everything's got a place, and like it's a small enough number that, I mean, my dad can name practically all the original 150 Pokemon just through osmosis of me and my sister being into it.
Yeah.
And I, now there's like 800 of them and I can't name, all of those. It's way too many, even as someone who's into Pokemon. Like I don't know a lot of the later Dex ones. It's
Well,
like-
this is the second biggest gen as far as adding Pokemon goes, though. That's the thing.
I mean, they added a whole 150. I mean, they don't really do that anymore.
That's actually kind of a relief for the future of this podcast, that every gen is going to be shorter than this one.
Thank goodness.
Oh boy, we haven't gotten to Gen 5, baby.
Oh,
Gen 5 is bigger.
Gen 5.
But Gen 5 is amazing, so.
I love Gen 5, but there's a lot of Pokemon that I think are real filler in that gen.
Gen 5 has the highest highs and the lowest lows. I keep saying
mean,
it. and it's
You've
true.
got Conkeldurr.
Don't.
Oh, don't talk to me about
You
Conkeldurr.
guys can't talk shit about him and then go, yes, Jinx is okay. Jinx is great, guys.
I
I
don't.
don't like Jinx.
Jinx isn't great, but Jinx is like at least tolerable.
Again, it comes down to it was new at the time, therefore it's still kind of, it's got that nostalgic.
I just think the shame about
Freshness.
Conkeldurr is the fact that Timber is so like the baby
Oh
one
god,
is so
Timber's,
cute.
Timber's
Yeah.
cute.
I actually think Girder's worse.
Like, I think the veins are the thing that get me the
It's the
worst.
fucking clown nose.
Oh,
Yes,
everything is
it's
awful.
Sepia tone sad clown with just horrific.
We'll
Just-
talk about him when we get to him. Let's talk about Gen 1.
Getting back to the games, I mean, I'm never going to replay Red and Blue in my life because there's better Pokemon games. But
Well, now you don't need to, because you can
Yeah.
play Let's Go Pikachu
No.
and Let's Go
Let's-
Eevee.
That's not what
we
I'm
make
saying.
Pokemon Yellow, which is not the same.
but it does stuff that no other Pokemon game has done better. Like the structure of Gen 1 is just perfect to me.
Yeah.
It's very open after you, like, honestly, even before you don't even have to fight Lieutenant Surge, really.
No, you do the first two gyms, and then
There you
can
go.
pretty much go anywhere, and then when you've been
Yeah.
everywhere, you finish up the game. Like it's
Yeah,
perfect.
and even remakes of that gen don't even do that
Yeah, yeah.
anymore, which is a shame.
No,
I
they
think
try to block it off.
It's
Hate it.
nice that like there's just the right amount of Pokemon that you have stuff that's rare at the beginning of the game that's kind of common at the end of the game, and
Yeah.
it kind of has a nice structure to it that way where you're still being pleasantly surprised by new and rare Pokemon and powerful
Mhm.
ones at the end of the game that you can kind of use or not as you see fit.
Yeah.
hmm
But later on, there's too many Pokemon to do that with because you don't. If you want to use them all, you have to spread them out.
It does some cool stuff that we haven't seen again as well. Like the self scope was really cool, and like the whole concept of ghost Pokemon was wacky in Gen 1. And the fact that there were ways you could progress either by getting badges or by beating Team Rocket, and you had two different ways that you'd be like progressing through the game, which was cool.
Yeah.
But let's not fail to mention the numerous problems with Gen 1. The balance,
Oh my god.
moves just straight up not working like they're supposed to, Psychic being completely overpowered, some types just having no representation at all, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon and Ghost.
Dragon Ghost.
And-
How about that, lads?
Ghost can't shine against Psychic as well because they're all poison type,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
ridiculous.
I think Ghost got fucked. I feel like Dragon was at the time was made to be like a mythical rare type.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I think
okay.
it's fair enough. Dragon.
I just feel bad for the bugs, man.
The bugs got shat over as well.
Feel bad for the bugs.
Yep.
They're an early game type that you're not supposed to rely on later on.
What about Scyther?
Scythe is shit.
Oh!
Not even Cypher's that good.
If you're not a normal water, rock, or psychic type, you don't matter. Gave us our first Mimic and our first actual Pokemon Mimic, so that's pretty cool. It's interesting that, like, yeah, it kind of has a lot of RPG things that fleshed out, but then did its own thing too. Like,
it feels like they never went back to that, really.
Yeah.
Not in quite the same way.
Just Fungus and Amoongus, and that's it.
Which came first, by the way? Did Dragon Quest? Is it Dragon Quest Monsters? Did that come out before Pokemon or after?
I doubt it.
I don't know.
Oh, it must be after.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Dragon Warrior Monsters on the Game Boy Color came out in 1998.
Okay, so only like a year after, but like probably in direct reaction to Pokemon though.
But apparently, I'm just doing a bit of quick research here. You can catch monsters as early as Dragon Quest V, which is from '92.
Yeah.
So there is a precedent, and obviously Dragon Quest is massively influential.
For any RPG, especially like portable ones and 8-bit ones in Japan, yeah.
So maybe, but I think this was a largely like non-video game influenced idea. It was mostly just Satoshi Tajiri being a bug catcher as a kid.
So the more interesting thing, this is a little bit trivia, is that before Game Freak made games for the Game Boy and for Nintendo, they actually made games for Sega, specifically.
Pulseman! Oh my god, I love Pulseman so much.
There is an alternate universe somewhere where Pokemon came out on the Game Gear.
Don't like that.
And
nobody played it.
One of two things happened. Either nobody played it or Sega just shat all over Nintendo for the next
Don't like
15
that.
years because they own Pokemon.
I'm glad I'm in this. I'm glad I'm in the Berenstains.
The Berenstain, not the Berenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you would have had color from the start, though, is what you would have had. Like, and no battery life. Don't get me wrong, but
I am glad these games actually succeeded. They almost did it in Japan at first.
it was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like they didn't do well, but then they just kept getting they kept getting more and more like word of mouth, like popularity, and then it just kind of exploded.
It's weird to think of Pokemon as being a surprise hit at one point. It
is, isn't
right?
it?
Lifetime.
Now it's guaranteed.
Pokemon almost died in development. Pokemon went through development hell. People were not taking salaries that were working on Pokemon. They were banking on the fact that it would make money, and luckily they did, because it might have just shut down, and it might not have come out. They were so close to just not releasing.
It's fucking crazy.
It came out on a dying handheld too, for that matter. Like reinvigorated the Game Boy.
What year was it released in Japan? Was it late 96 or early 97?
96.
96. Was it dying by that point?
The Game Boy definitely was.
This gave Game Boy a shot in the arm. Like, I don't know if we'd have got Game Boy Color and stuff.
What the fuck did Game Boy have before then? Like Super Mario Land and Tetris.
Tetris.
Yeah, but Tetris, even then Tetris was like old as fuck by then.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but people would still have been playing it because it wouldn't have been driving sales though. It wouldn't have been driving sales. Like, I'll give you that.
Especially in like Japan, where like technology was on the rise and people were starting to like get cell phones. They were gonna make Tetris for it sooner or later anyway. There was literally no point to the Game Boy.
I mean, in the early years of the Game Boy, it was just a port machine from the NES and the
Yeah.
Famicom because it was like almost direct in its capabilities. You could do stuff with it.
If Pokemon hadn't succeeded, I wouldn't be the gamer girl I am today. I would probably be a normie, and that's fucked up if true.
You would not be a normie, one way or another.
I didn't play anything other than Pokemon games until I was 13.
Pokemon taught me English. Like,
Yeah, I
more or
know,
less,
right?
so- Like, I'm serious.
Pokemon taught me.
Imagine learning English through Vietnamese Pokemon games. Imagine that for us. Bag fuck, pocket fuck.
You would just be swearing a whole lot.
Black society want to do something criminal. Are you feared?
So, do you guys have any like highlight Pokédex entries?
Yes, I've got a few. Let me start. Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan has the soul of a boxer living inside him. The ghost of a boxer lives in Hitmonchan. That is one of the craziest things.
Yeah, that would just make no sense. There's so much crazy shit like that. Kadabra being a boy who was transformed.
Oh yeah, that one's like absolutely wild. Ninetales is 9 wise
The
men
9
who
wizards.
died. Like 9 wizards, yeah.
Let me tell you, Gengar is probably my favorite has my favorite dex entries of Gen 1. Should you feel yourself attacked by a sudden chill, it is evidence of an approaching Gengar. There is no escaping it. Give up. What the fuck?
But what's Gengar going to do to you? Is it necessarily
It
malevolent?
sucks out your life. That's what it does.
Takes your soul.
So I'm looking at my list of like favorite Pokemon from this gen, and I'm realizing that like a lot of the ones I like the design for, I don't actually like overall, and vice versa.
Yeah, I get that.
I love Hitmonlee, but I don't think its design is like great, but it's still cool to me, I guess. I don't know.
I found out that there were a lot of Pokemon that I thought looked good that have actually got really boring like dex entries, like Sandshrew.
Oh
and
my God.
Sandslash
Yeah.
are just,
I
like-
adore Sandshrew and Sandslash.
The
but they're so
Niddos!
boring. And the Niddos.
The Niddos are like some of the worst.
Yeah.
They got horns. They like biting. They have tails. Like, fuck off.
They're just poison rabbits. You've taken all the magic out of it.
essentially.
I've got a question for you guys.
Go on.
Which one was the horniest Pokedex entry?
Pidgeotto was a good one to
Yeah.
start on. Like it's lustrous feathers
It's
attract,
lustrous.
and they're just brown. They're
It's-
just brown.
Its
you know?
sexy, colourful plumage makes me rock hard.
So, I liked that. Was it Seal or Dugong gets frisky when
Yes.
it's when
Yeah, I
it's
think it's
cold?
Dugong.
Trainers who are crazy for Seeking are divided into horn enthusiasts and fin enthusiasts. The two groups do not get along well. I think
Yeah.
that's just. It's not really horny. It's just creepy, but it's kind of
All
related.
Pokemaniacs right there.
What about Gloomlickers?
Yes.
Oh
Gloom
yes.
Lickers, Jesus
There's
Christ.
the 1%, the 0.1% of people who are attracted to the smell of a gloom.
The one man.
It's supposed to be like the no, that's Vileplume is the one which is supposed to be like the flower that smells like rotting flesh, isn't it?
They both sting
Yeah,
like shit.
Oh, they're
Gloom
both
and-
supposed to smell like rotting flesh, yeah.
Gloom has the yummy saliva, so
Oh yeah,
Fucking
that's it.
Primeapes. It has been known to become so angry that it dies as a result.
Hate
Its face looks peaceful in death, however.
you to death.
It's even angry when it's asleep.
But
Primates
inside
is
a
great.
Pokeball. Like, oh my god, it never ever forgives. To me, the standout designs in this gen are ones that like take a theme and run with it
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the way. And Primeape's that.
yeah, just angry.
Angry monkey. Angry ball of fluff.
It stops being angry only when nobody else is around. To view this moment is very difficult.
I think one of the coolest things I found in this gen was when we did Slowpoke and Slowbro. Like they've got some good entries, but Slowbro's Cloyster can just fall off and then it de-evolves back into Slowpoke.
No,
And that's the craziest thing. I just found that really like weird, and they've never really done anything
Yeah.
with it, but it's so
I feel
odd.
like that's one of the many moments in the Pokédex where it's like this was obviously just written for shits and giggles with no actual thought to continuity.
this
whatsoever.
Pokemon's over 5,000 degrees.
Yeah, like that's one of the things. It would be really sick if they actually like worked with that in any kind of way, but they're too far in now. They can't They can't be doing unevolution and shit. There was another one that would like in theory unevolve as well. Oh yeah, it's Magneton. Like if you
Yes.
Yeah.
separated them
Yeah.
and the Digletts, all the trio ones, yeah. They just
Yeah. It's really odd how they can like form up as a group and then they can just go back to being singular as well.
yeah.
So what's your guys' favorite Pokemon overall from this gen?
I think I'm gonna go with Gloom. I think Gloom is my favorite Pokemon from this gen. I love the facial expression, just the general attitude, the name. I can't really describe it better than I did in the Gloom episode. I just love Gloom like a whole lot.
It's good.
So Mewtwo will always be my boy, and he's still my boy. But I think I've made some new friends along the way, and I think Primeape was really
Yes.
good actually. I like how angry of a boy he is.
I've got a few. Coughing, obviously. I don't think our episode for Coughing was like particularly anything. I just fucking love the way Coughing looks. He's just great. So there's Coughing, there's Mew, and obviously my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon is Missingno. We don't talk about him though because it's not real. But that's my
It's a
favorite.
myth. Just a myth.
It's a myth, but it's a good one.
My favorite is probably still Golbat after all this time. I love Golbat, me. Fucking love his original sprite as well for the American and European release.
Oh, not the tongue.
It's beautiful.
The sideways tongue.
The sideways tongue and the fucking gigantic mouth. He also evolves into my absolute favorite Pokemon, so...
We already know MDs, but...
No, what's mine?
Clefairy.
Clefable. But I have other ones too. I want to talk about some other ones. I want to talk about the fact that as much as I fucking hate fire types, the Ninetales episode really opened my eyes to how cool it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because like, there's no Pokemon before it in the decks, and there's not a lot after that have such a heavy mythology behind why it exists and what it does. I also am really fond of Pinsir because I like the big bugs. And there's not a lot I hate. I can tell you now, I fucking hate Rapidash. It is the absolute opposite of Ninetales to me. It is so boring.
It's a boring fire type.
Like animals on fire.
You cruel individual, lawless.
And yes, Rusty, I'm calling you out. Fucking hate Rapidash. Honestly, I don't think there's a lot of terrible Pokemon in this dex.
Yeah, there's not like...
The bad Pokemon in this dex are the ones that you look at them and you're like, okay, but what's the Pokemon thing about it? And then it's like, no, it's just a bird, actually.
Yeah, there's nothing that's like actively bad. It's just like null, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tangela, like, is big filler.
I think my least favorite from this gen is Jinx. Even if it wasn't Mr. Popo, it would just like... I just find it really disturbing, and like,
yeah, it is kind of, isn't it?
It doesn't clash in an interesting way with the Pokemon style. It's just strange.
What I like is that even the ones that are visually boring can be thematically interesting as well, with some exceptions. Like Onyx, for example, is like it's a big Muck. Yeah, exactly. Muck is a good example.
I think Jinx would make more sense if it was Ice and Ghost, honestly.
Yeah, it would do. It might then not have been complete trash as well.
Yeah. If it was just like a spooky ghost spirit that like dresses up as like women to lure people to their deaths or something.
Oh,
but if it was, then it would have lost psychic type, so it would have been completely irrelevant.
We had someone comment on our Jinx episode actually that it's based on Yama Uba or Yuki Onna in Japanese mythology, and they are like ice ghosts.
Frostlass, basically.
That's Frostlass though, isn't it? So
which did it way better.
Yeah, which was done a lot better, yeah.
I still really like Mr. Mime from a design standpoint, even though he also disgusts me. He disgusts me, but I like it. I don't know how to explain it.
I did like Mr. Mime before this podcast, and I don't like Mr. Mime now.
Rhyhorn's another one I don't like either.
I love Rhyhorn, on the other hand. I like Rhyhorn better than I like Rhydon as well. I think it looks...
Stands up and gets smarter.
It stands up and gets smarter. I like Rhyhorn better, though. I think it looks more monster-like, maybe. I don't know.
Well, here we are, Gen 1.
We're at the end of Gen 1. We made it.
Goodbye and good riddance. on to Gen 2. No
Yes.
more Mr. Mime, no more Venonat, no more Biter-Free. I'm going to talk about how...
Did you
I'll
say
think of it when I get there.
Biter-Free?
Biter-Free, yeah.
Venonat will
No.
meant to
I'm not
evolve.
talking about that.
Into Butterfree.
We're not. That's the point.
We don't
no
have
more.
to anymore. We don't have to.
Gen 2 for me is going to be a very mixed bag, and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it afterwards. Goodbye. Let's wave a goodbye to this gen, everybody.
Yeah,
Come on,
goodbye.
bye.
Thank you for listening. We're done with Gen 1.
Bye.
You gotta say Kanto in a finalized tone.
Kanto. No, that's not right, though.
What?
You do that.
Kanto.
That's terrible.
Kanto.
Can't. Oh.
Kanto. We
Kanto.
hardly. Well, actually, we know you too well.
We know you far too well, and let's hope they never make another game with it in again.
Kanto, I hardly know her.
Kanto, you see, this is the end of the episode.
Kanto.
Can you just fade out on like the end